Okay, so everyone knows dating these days can be, well, rough.
Yeah,
But what if we could actually enjoy it?
right.
Today, we're diving into big dating energy
By Jeff Guenther and Kate Happ.
to figure out just that.
This book is really refreshing because it starts with you,
Yeah,
not with all the usual dating tips and tricks. All it starts with self-awareness.
exactly. Chapter 1 is called Get Real.
Oh, yeah, they don't hold back.
No, they don't.
It's all about those little things we do when we feel insecure.
Like what?
Well, like getting defensive or shutting down.
Ah, yeah, I've definitely been there.
We all have those little defense mechanisms.
But the book goes even deeper.
Totally.
It's not just about recognizing those patterns.
Right. It's about understanding why we react that way.
Like, why do we push people away?
Exactly. Could it be fear of getting hurt?
Or maybe we're scared of commitment,
It's all about facing those uncomfortable truths.
which can be tough.
For sure, but it's so worth it in the long run.
Absolutely. It's like taking inventory of your own baggage
Yeah.
before you even think about bringing someone else along.
I love that analogy.
And what really resonated with me was the idea of defining your non-negotiables.
Oh, that's huge.
Not just the deal breakers, but also the things you must have. They even suggest making a list.
Really?
Yeah, it helps you get crystal clear on your values.
Like, what kind of person do you truly want to be with?
And just as important, what are your absolute no-goes,
So you're basically setting boundaries right from the start.
which can save you so much heartache down the road.
No doubt about it.
Okay, so we've done the inner work, defined our non-negotiables.
And hopefully we're feeling pretty good about ourselves.
Now it's time to, as they say, cast a wide net.
Which, for most people, means online dating.
Right, but so many people approach it with dread.
I know, but the book actually gives some really practical tips.
Oh, really?
I'm intrigued.
The key is authenticity, above all else.
Like being yourself.
Yeah, ditch the cheesy lines and the filtered photos,
Instead, choose photos that reflect your true self.
even if they're not perfectly posed.
Exactly. And when it comes to your profile, be upfront about what you're looking for.
Whether it's a casual fling or something more serious.
Right. No need to play games or pretend to be someone you're not.
Because you want to attract the right people.
Not just anyone.
Exactly. And they even have some tips on how to make those algorithms work for you.
Oh, yeah. Those algorithms can be tricky.
For sure. But they suggest things like broadening your search criteria.
Like looking beyond just physical attributes.
Right. You might be surprised who you connect with.
Definitely don't let those filters limit you.
And they also emphasize the importance of engaging with the app regularly.
But without getting sucked into the endless scrolling.
Totally. It's so easy to get lost in that vortex.
It's all about balance. Make time for things outside the dating world.
Like hobbies, friendships, things that make you happy.
Exactly. Don't let dating consume your entire life.
So let's say you've done all the prep work, you've created a great profile.
And you finally match with someone promising.
Now comes the moment of truth, the first date.
Oh, yeah, the first date.
I don't know about you, but I've definitely had some awkward ones.
Oh, we've all been there.
But the book encourages us to view it as a data collection mission.
A data collection mission.
Yeah, it's not about trying to force a connection.
We're trying to impress the other person.
Right, it's about gathering information and seeing if there's potential.
I like that. It takes the pressure off.
Totally. They even advise going in with zero expectations.
Zero.
Seriously, just ditch the idea of finding the one on date number 1.
Haha, that's good advice.
Approach it with curiosity and a willingness to enjoy the conversation.
Even though it doesn't lead to anything romantic.
So what are some things we should be looking for on that first date?
Well, pay attention to how the other person makes you feel.
Okay, like, do they listen?
Yeah, do they make an effort to get to know you?
Do you feel comfortable being yourself around them?
Those are all good signs.
And on the flip side, are they constantly checking their phone?
Or dominating the conversation.
It's about those subtle cues that reveal a lot about someone's character.
And remember, it's a two-way street.
All right, you're also interviewing them.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask questions that reveal their values and interests.
So we're paying attention to how they make us feel. We're asking insightful questions.
And we're remembering that we're also interviewing them.
What about those awkward silences?
Oh, yeah. Those can be tough.
How do we handle those gracefully?
Have a few conversation starters up your sleeve. Well, instead of asking, what do you do?
Yeah, that's pretty generic.
Try something like, what are you most passionate about outside of work?
Ooh, that's good.
Or instead of asking, where are you from?
Which can be a bit boring.
Ask, what's your favorite thing about the place you grew up?
I like that it invites them to share something personal.
And it reveals their values and passions.
So we've made it through the date. Now how do we handle the end?
whether we're feeling it or not.
Yeah, how do we do that gracefully,
Clear and honest communication is key.
even at this early stage?
Absolutely. If you're not feeling a second date, be upfront and respectful.
Don't ghost them or make up excuses.
Right. Just say something like, I enjoyed meeting you, but I'm not feeling a romantic connection.
That's perfectly fine.
And on the flip side, if you do want to see them again,
Don't play games.
just be direct and say, I had a great time and I'd love to see you again.
It's about setting the tone for honest and open communication.
Right from the start.
So the first date went well. You're both excited to see where things go.
And now you're entering what they call the pre-relationship phase.
This is where things can get interesting and maybe a little messy,
It's that exciting but also nerve-wracking stage.
where you're starting to build a connection but haven't defined things yet.
There's a lot of potential, but also a lot of uncertainty.
So how do we navigate this phase without losing our minds or scaring them away?
What should we be paying attention to?
Well, one of the most important things is to observe how you interact as a couple.
Oh, like how you handle disagreements.
Exactly. Do you feel comfortable being vulnerable with each other?
Are you starting to see any red flags?
Red flags. Okay, I'm all ears.
The book outlines some common ones to watch out for.
Like what?
Things like avoidant communication,
Okay, that's not good.
chaotic behavior, emotional immaturity,
Definitely red flags.
disinterest in your life,
Oof, that's a tough one.
and of course, love bombing.
Love bombing, that's when someone showers you with excessive attention early on, right?
Exactly. It can feel amazing at first,
I bet.
but it's often a manipulative tactic to gain control.
So we're watching out for red flags, but we're also looking for green flags, right?
Absolutely. The book highlights some key ones:
Like what?
emotional intelligence, good listening skills,
Those are important.
generosity, self-awareness, and healthy boundaries.
All great qualities in a partner.
For sure.
But what about those big life topics?
The things that can make or break a relationship in the long run.
Exactly.
Well, the book encourages open and honest conversations about those too.
Like what kind of topics?
Things like politics, children, finances,
Oh yeah, those are big ones.
career aspirations, even location.
It's about making sure you're on the same page, or at least have compatible visions.
Exactly.
So it's better to have those potentially awkward conversations early on.
Than to avoid them and discover later that you have totally different goals.
And if it becomes clear that you're not heading in the same direction,
The book encourages ending things respectfully.
even if it's difficult,
It's about recognizing that incompatibility doesn't mean either of you is wrong.
it just means you're not the right fit for each other.
Right.
We talked about all the early steps in dating.
Getting real with yourself.
Yeah, figuring out your non-negotiables.
Navigating those first dates.
Seeing if there's potential with someone.
But relationships can get complicated even when you do all the right things.
So true. So what happens when that initial spark starts to fade?
That's when the real work begins.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase is over.
Those little quirks that were once cute become annoyances.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like those dirty socks on the floor we talked about.
You start seeing your partner in a different light.
Not always a good light.
The book calls this the post-honeymoon phase.
It's something most couples go through.
It's inevitable.
That initial infatuation wears off.
You get to know each other on a deeper level.
But the authors don't see this as a bad thing.
Right, they see it as an opportunity for growth.
So it's about navigating those differences and challenges,
In a healthy way,
which can be hard.
for sure.
So how do we do that?
How do we keep those little annoyances from becoming big blowouts?
Yeah, those can escalate quickly.
The book has a whole chapter on communication.
Communication is key,
They emphasize being direct, honest, and respectful,
even when things get tough.
especially when things get tough.
They even give specific phrases to use.
Yeah, to broach those sensitive topics.
Without triggering defensiveness.
Exactly. Okay, I need some examples.
Sometimes I just don't know what to say.
When I'm feeling frustrated or hurt.
Well, they suggest using I statements instead of blaming or accusing your partner.
Okay, so instead of saying, you never listen to me,
Right, which can come across as accusatory.
you would say.
I feel unheard when I'm trying to share something important.
So it shifts the focus to your own feelings,
Not on blaming the other person.
which makes it easier for them to hear you.
It takes the sting out of the criticism.
And it's more about expressing your needs, not attacking the other person.
They also emphasize active listening.
Active listening. What's that?
It's not just waiting for your turn to speak. I think I'm guilty of that sometimes,
It's about truly trying to understand their perspective.
even if you don't agree with it,
Exactly. You're creating a safe space for both of you
where you can both express yourselves.
without fear of judgment.
It's about fostering empathy and understanding.
Essential for any healthy relationship.
And even with the best communication skills, Conflicts will happen.
Oh, yeah, it's inevitable.
So how do we handle those conflicts?
How do we prevent them from turning into relationship-ending blowouts?
Yeah, that's the key.
Well, they suggest taking breaks when things get heated.
Taking a break.
Yeah, step away from the situation.
Let things cool down.
Come back when you're both calmer.
I think we've all been there.
Things escalate,
You say something you regret.
and suddenly it's a huge fight.
Taking a break can be so helpful.
But it's hard to do in the heat of the moment.
For sure.
It takes practice.
But it's a valuable skill.
They also recommend focusing on the behavior, not the person.
Okay, so instead of saying, you're so inconsiderate,
Right, which is a personal attack.
you would say.
I felt hurt when you forgot our anniversary.
So you're addressing the issue.
Without attacking your character.
It's about separating the action from the person.
Because we all make mistakes.
But it's how we handle those mistakes that matters.
Exactly. It's about accountability and understanding.
Now, we all want our relationships to last forever.
Of course.
But sometimes things just don't work out.
That's true.
And that can be really painful.
Heartbreak is part of life.
So what do the authors say about navigating a breakup?
Well, they frame breakups not as failures,
Not as failures.
but as opportunities for growth and learning.
Okay, that's a different perspective.
They call it a relationship inventory.
A relationship inventory.
Yeah, it's a time to reflect.
On what worked
I didn't.
and how you can grow from the experience. So instead of blaming ourselves or the other person,
Right.
we should be asking, what can I learn from this?
Exactly. It's about taking ownership.
Identifying those patterns that you might be repeating.
And they emphasize self-compassion.
Self-compassion.
Yeah, it's okay to grieve the loss.
Allow yourself to feel those difficult emotions.
But remember that you're worthy of love.
And there will be other opportunities.
It's about giving yourself time to heal.
But not letting the heartbreak define you.
Ending a relationship doesn't diminish your worth.
Or your capacity for love.
It just means that chapter is closed.
And a new one is about to begin.
Exactly.
So we've talked about communication.
The conflict resolution.
Even breakups.
But these principles go beyond just romantic relationships.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they apply to all kinds of relationships.
Like with friends and family.
Exactly, colleagues, even with yourself.
So it's about cultivating healthy communication habits.
In all areas of our lives.
Creating a culture of respect and empathy.
Open dialogue in all your interactions. We've talked about a lot.
Self-awareness, communication, even breakups.
Yeah, all the important stuff.
But now let's get to the heart of it.
What exactly is big dating energy?
Yeah, everyone's talking about it.
But what does it actually mean?
Is it some magic trick?
Definitely not a pickup artist routine.
Ah, good to know.
They describe it as this inner magnetism that draws people in.
Inner magnetism.
It's about confidence, knowing your worth,
And approaching dating with a sense of, what do they call it?
playful curiosity.
Right, not desperation.
Exactly. It's less about forcing a connection.
And more about letting your true self shine.
When you're genuinely enjoying yourself,
Feeling good in your own skin.
that energy is contagious
People are drawn to that.
to authenticity and joy,
That makes sense. But how do we cultivate that big dating energy?
especially when we're not feeling confident.
Yeah, after a heartbreak or a string of bad dates.
It can be tough.
So what do they suggest?
Focus on personal growth outside of dating.
Like what?
Pursue your hobbies, deepen your friendships,
Invest in your career.
anything that makes you feel fulfilled.
So basically build a life you love
And the right people will come along.
when you're happy on your own.
You're not coming from a place of neediness.
That inner confidence shines through.
And it's attractive.
So instead of desperately searching for the one,
Focus on becoming the best version of yourself.
and they also suggest shifting your mindset around dating.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Instead of viewing it as a high-pressure quest,
Right. Like you have to find someone.
think of it as a journey of self-discovery.
I like that.
Approach each date with curiosity and openness.
Even if it doesn't lead to romance.
It's about embracing the adventure.
Not fixating on the destination.
You might meet some amazing people along the way.
Even if they don't become your partner.
You know, this reminds me of this one time.
Oh, yeah.
I went on a date with this guy I met online.
Yeah.
Zero romantic chemistry. But we ended up becoming great friends.
Wow, that's awesome.
We still hang out to this day
You never know what kind of connections you'll make.
when you open yourself up to possibilities.
And that highlights another important point.
What's that?
Big dating energy isn't just about romantic relationships.
It's about cultivating fulfilling connections in all areas of your life.
That's so true.
It applies to friendships,
Family relationships.
even professional networking.
It's about showing up as your true self,
Being present in your interactions.
approaching each encounter with kindness and respect.
So it's about radiating that positive energy wherever you go.
Whether you're on a date or just hanging out with friends,
And when you do that,
you'll attract amazing connections into your life.
well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into big dating energy,
We covered a lot of ground
from self-awareness and communication.
to navigating relationships and cultivating that inner magnetism.
Remember, cultivating big dating energy is an ongoing process.
It's about self-discovery, growth, and connection.
Embrace the journey. Stay true to yourself.
And never underestimate the power of genuine connection.
That's great advice.
Thanks.
So until next time, fellow deep divers,
Keep exploring, keep connecting.
and keep shining bright.